ni kubwa. Usikose kutokea. SMS Choma to 24337. Ujishindie tikiti.
Kenya's largest single-day athletics event is back again, and this year it is bigger. Get ready for the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. Join us at the Uhuru Gardens on Sunday, 29th October as we celebrate 20 years running. Register today for 2,000 Kenya shillings only at www.nairobimarathon.com. All proceeds go towards the Future Makers program, which helps young people, especially girls and people living with disability, to learn, earn, and grow.
To protect our family from germs that cause illness when it's cold, we use Dettol soap.
Dettol soap with germ defense gives you protection. When it's cold, germs are transferred in different ways, and Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Now introducing the new 125-gram Dettol soap at only 200 shillings.
So instead of just looking at, let me finance because you want to have the business, it's going to look at sustainability.
On Women in Business today, we focus on the credit-only financial institution.
What we offer is loans only. We do not mobilize deposits.
How should an entrepreneur go about the assessment process?
It has to be a legitimate purpose. You can't lend money for a deal of corruption.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Just like I'd said earlier, some 13 years ago, on the 27th day of August 2010, Kenyans promulgated a new constitution. Kenyans declared the birth of a second republic. Where were you on that day? I can say I was at Uhuru Park actually covering that event, and it was a palpable event. The excitement, everything that, people feeling that we have gotten to a place where after a long journey, Kenya has now a new constitution. We repealed the old constitution and adopted a new one. What happened? A flag was hoisted at Uhuru Park. People were celebrating and chanting. Before this day, there had been a referendum. And before that referendum, there had been some heated campaign where some people had campaigned against the adoption of the draft constitution. That charge was led by religious leaders, particularly Christian churches, and some in the political class, including the current president, who was then a member of parliament, William Ruto. In the show tonight, we want to look at 13 years of the Constitution, and particularly looking at how it has fared, how it has served, and whether the fears of those who are campaigning against it have been addressed. Joining me on set is the Reverend Dr. Alphonse Kanga. He is the regional chair of the National Council of Churches of Kenya. Also, we have Vincent Kimosop, who is the secretary of the Kenya Christian Professionals Forum, and Diana Gichengo, national coordinator of the Institute for Social Accountability. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good morning. I'm used to a good morning conversation all the time. Thank you very much for joining me on set. Asanteni sana.
You're welcome.
I want to start with you, Diana. You've been in this space where you're talking about social accountability, where, of course, everything that TISA does is looking at the implementation of the new constitution and ensuring that there is accountability at all levels of government. What is your feeling so far, 13 years after promulgation?
I think 13 years down the line, one, as TISA, we are grateful we have a constitution because it opened up the space for social accountability. Public participation is entrenched therein. Devolution now is a constitutional principle. It doesn't matter how much we want to run away from devolving power and resources. it will take a referendum to change the design and architecture of the constitution. However, increasingly, we feel the constitution, remember it was voted, it had a 67% majority. If we ever got to that level of presidential results, I'm sure that leader will have quite an easier time leading.
An overwhelming endorsement.
Exactly, because we've never gotten to that particular level. But when you look at the implementation of the Constitution, and I'm just trying to run through every single chapter, including the Republic, they even calls for secession right now. There's not a single chapter that feels is driven by our political class to implement it willingly. A number of chapters led by the leadership and the integrity chapter, the land chapter, devolution even in public finance. Most of them feel like they are imposed on the current political leadership, and increasingly in the last 6 years, we are seeing a strong push to claw back the gains that we have made, including around the Bill of Rights. People are wondering, did we want these human rights in Kenya? We voted for them. So we've made good strides, but there's a lot of the center holding too much power and people being very, very accustomed to the old way of doing things and running away from the rule of law.
Okay. I want to bring in the two gentlemen from NCCK and the Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. In the run-up to the referendum, your organizations had serious concerns about the Constitution. I'm going to quote some of the things that were said then. Oliver Kisaka, who was a top official of the National Council of Churches of Kenya, has said, "We believe the Constitution draft does not